black covered cables and warm woolen mittens, brown paper packages tied up with strings. These are a few of my favorite things. Girls in white dresses with blue satin sashes, snowflakes that stay on my nose and eyelashes, silver white winters that melt into spring. These are a few of my favorite things. When the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favorite things, and then I don't feel so bad. Cream-colored ponies and crisp apple strudels, doorbells and sleigh bells and schnitzel with noodles, wild geese that fly with the moon on their wings. These are a few of my favorite things. When the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favorite things, and then I don't feel so bad.
Good evening and welcome to the Quirky Weird and Wonderful Art Exhibition. We hope you have a nice time tonight, and please do explore all the artwork, and yeah, let's all give all the artists who got their artwork in tonight, give them a hand. I'll hand you over to Pat now.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Caroline, and thank you, Nikki, for putting that together today, especially for the Quirky, Weird and Wonderful opening. Good evening, everybody, and welcome. My name's Pat Ricks. I'm the director of TUTTI, and it's my pleasure to actually do the welcome to acknowledgement of country tonight.
Turn that mic on.
Oh, it just doesn't sound like it's on.
There you go.
Okay.
Somebody's finance going on.
Okay, so I'd like to acknowledge the people whose land we are on tonight, the Kaurna people of the Adelaide Plains. On behalf of everybody here, I'd like to acknowledge their elders, past and present, and their spiritual connection with this land. I'd also like to welcome some special guests here tonight. We have the Honourable Kelly Vincent. Where are you, Kelly? Fighting her way to the front in a chariot. As you know, Kelly is Dignity for Disabilities represented in the Legislative Council. David Holst is also here tonight. Thank you for coming, David. You don't have to applaud everybody, it's okay. Just acknowledging people for being with us tonight at this very, very special launch. Okay, and Scott Hicks, TUTTI's patron, thank you for coming, Scott. John Miller, newly elected chair of the TUTTI board, thank you for coming and your lovely family. A very special welcome to Karani Baraka, all the way from Indonesia, who's our resident poet and performance artist who's going to be with us for the next 2 weeks. Fantastic to have you with us. Oka, wherever you are, I can see a hand. Make yourself known to Oka, I'm sure she'd love to see you. Thank you, Freddie Brinkat from CBS for coming. Also Peter Gers, who came earlier but had to get to the radio to start his show. Thank you for coming. Linda Yates from Holdfast Bay Council, and from Arts SA, Sarah and Michael Treasure and Jennifer Latham. They're the people that I'd like to acknowledge, and of course all of you for coming tonight. There's one person it's my absolute delight to introduce to you. She's got the job of thanking everybody else who's been working so hard behind the scenes. I'd just like to say a few words about Patricia. Patricia Wozniak has been the coordinator of the TUTTI Supported Artists Studio for this year and part of last year. She took over from Mel Fulton, who began the program back in 2005. And they've been working together for some time, and now Patricia's the coordinator. I'd just like to say that Patricia is one of those people who's totally inspired by the people she works with, their originality, their authenticity, their creativity, and very particularly, she understands how to support people to present their work. And sometimes the artists aren't the people to decide how their work should be presented. So I'd just like to pay tribute to Patricia, because she thinks outside the square and she supports artists that she's working with to think outside the square too. So everybody, would you please put your hands together and welcome Patricia Wozniak.
I'm just going to try and make this short and sweet, because usually visual artists don't like being in the limelight. So I'd like to firstly congratulate all the artists for their wonderful work. It looks amazing, guys. Particularly Tessa for her amazing installation. And if you'd like to, Pavlos is around with the camera, you can take your photo. Tessa's over here. Yeah. And I'd also like to give a special thanks to the volunteers, because the volunteers are like the heart and soul of TUTTI. They keep things running, and we have so many varieties of volunteers. We have volunteers that help with their creative, artistic skills, but we also have the earthy, practical volunteers that help with those things that we need to get done. So I'd like to acknowledge particularly Jenny, who's here tonight. And Jenny with the hat, the amazing hat. So, Tara, and Francis. A couple who aren't here tonight, John, Robin, and Jess. And have I forgotten anyone?
Wendy.
Yes, Wendy, who's not here tonight, but she wish she could. She's in Indonesia at the moment. So I'd also like to thank the TUTTI staff who always put in extra. You know, we're all tired. We all go to work really inspired. You know, we can't wait to see what's going to be created, and then usually at the end of the day we're like really tired. But we always come back the next day really inspired.
Yay!
Yeah. And I'd like to thank Pepper Street Art Gallery, particularly Alex, for helping support us to get this exhibition together. And I'd also like to acknowledge the two interstate artists that we have tonight, who can't be here, but their works, they're from the ACT in Canberra. We have Dr. Possum. Some of his posters are up here. He writes children's books. And if you look in the cabinet over here, there's a little collection of books from Dr. Possum as well. And Paul Demitz, who does these beautiful ceramic pieces. So now I'd like to introduce the two guest speakers, Paul Hoban, who is the patron of the TUTTI Visual Arts. He's an artist himself, and he works at the university. He's the head of painting and drawing, and also local iconic artist Jungle Phillips. So if I can get them all to come to the front, that'd be great. Also, if you're interested in any of the artworks, if you go to the desk at the front here, they can help you out. Thank you.
Yay! Yeah.
Talk a little bit about some of the artists in a minute. Although I'd like to say something about. No, do I have to really do that? About Dr. Possum there. I don't. You should have a look at his YouTube interview. It's quite interesting, really, and it made me think that you know, there's a lot of talk about disability arts and so on. I kind of don't like the word because in art I don't think there's any such thing, and it's just about, you know, people developing, you know, an individual voice. But what Dr. Possum said was that he didn't feel like he was autistic, he felt like he had a gift. And that's not to say, you know, it's more that art for him is something else. He might have difficulties in other parts of his life, but in art, he's like a genius. And and you can see from an exhibition like this how diverse it is, how different everything is. And you can see intensity in some of them, and difficulty, and you can see extraordinary stuff, senses of colour and composition. I mean, look at Scott Pyle's stuff, and people should check out his multi-figure compositions as well. But quickly, this Tessa's thing here obviously was the first thing we saw, and we kind of, Jungle and I started from here, didn't we, Jungle?
We started. Actually, I saw stuff like this in France, and sort of inspired me when I come back. I saw what was amazing, workshops in France.
So Jungle's a kind of a success story. You know, he managed to generate the interest, European interest, from the Musée de la Création in Bordeaux, which is a very famous, what they call outsider museum. I sort of dislike the word outsider too, but if you think of it in terms that, you know, a lot of artists that go, my students at art school, they're learning art history and they're learning theories and so on. But the outcomes are often quite self-conscious, and it's usually the ones who found something that they can latch onto earlier, that have the stamina and the persistence to really develop their work. But Jungle went to Bordeaux for a major exhibition. They showed 50 pieces of his work, and a lot of work got sold. And we went to have a look at the cathedral. And you talk about that.
I did cathedral in France, went to Bordeaux and seen it's actually a dream come true. We saw the cathedral there, and it's like, wow. It's like about 100 foot high, right, with all these stained glass windows and Jesus paint. Now, ever since I was a little boy, grew up in Tasmania, I used to go to St. David's Cathedral and dreamed about like the old ancient churches and that, and the Jesus pictures, and you can see that, and it's like, oh wow. And it's amazing how it's built, so it's a dream come true to see it. And I always like that, I like it.
You see any trends here, Jungle, in this exhibition?
Yeah, I do.
I thought there's a psychedelic one.
Yes.
And what have I got written down here? Got my notes there. There's certainly mermaids.
Excuse me, did you say France before? Did France did that or not? Did you say before?
No, I saw works like yours in France. Exactly
Whoa.
like that.
Whoa.
But he's talking about stained glass windows and stone too.
Oh.
Tessa, one of her last works was called stained glass windows, wasn't it?
Yes, and one of my works was called stained glass windows, actually.
You really like them, don't you?
Yes, I do.
There you go, you
Yes.
paint it.
Now, yes. Yes.
Anyway, your work is full of excitement and energy. And it's
Is it really?
It's really exciting.
Do you really like my work, Paul Hogan?
And I know you have different styles as well. You do other paintings as well.
I know.
So you have your abstract one with the coloured pencils. And what are the huge amount of work in that?
I know.
The vampires you've got.
Yeah, that's
From
right.
Harry Potter and one from Twilight, I know.
And you see some people working with digital technology. James.
Hi.
Are also doing his paintings. But admire this piece here with the metallic photography. Is that what it's called, James?
Yeah, it's called eye size.
Really striking.
Wires.
And that one called Dex's Doom.
Tim Cannell here. I've been following his work for many years, for 20 years I think, seeing his work first. with these grids and lattices, it's typical of his work. I know he sometimes works in other styles, but he's fantastic too. Ella, where's Ella with her? Ellie? Yeah. With the woodcuts. And there's some beautiful woodcuts. What are they? Hand coloured out here by
Prince Banjo.
No, that's Lino.
by Banjo,
Yeah.
who also did these really realistic things at the back. Sorry, I don't know everybody's names, and a lot of this work is the first time I've ever seen it. Some of these people's work, and Banjo's new to Tutti.
Yeah,
Right? And what about Jenna?
And a mermaid, okay.
Yeah, and the mermaid in the
Mermaid.
centre. There's several people who've done mermaids. Sophie, with a lot of energy. That's this one here, up the top. Wow, that's great, Sophie. So she herself too, very beautiful. Is this Catherine?
No, that's Debbie.
Ah. Got a reference for some still lifes. That's Catherine over there. Yeah, that's great. Has she done more? Is she doing more of them?
She's done some beautiful, the flowers at the outside in the cafe part when you first walk
Oh
in.
yes, are they hand coloured or?
They're hand drawn.
They're-
Yeah, they're pencil and paper.
And Trisha, who did the big blue figure with the orange hearts. How strange and unusual that is, and wonderful somehow. Everybody's been getting their photographs taken with that piece. Charlie's work over there made a big impression on me. I think there's 4 of them, the leaf structures. Joel, to mention people's, the black and white head by Jean-Louis. Is that right? Jean-Louis?
Yes, Jean-Louis.
Kimberly's surrealism ice cream trees. Very nice. And I've seen a few of Kimberly's in the past too. Dougie's abstract.
Yeah.
That's great.
I know did that.
Yeah.
I'm an abstract.
You're an abstract sort of person?
Yeah.
So,
What I do is
maybe we all are somewhere.
and I am.
Taryn Flint,
Volunteer.
volunteer. That's a very nice thing with the bear, the dancing bear in the dark. Grace Bell. Chelsea, with the experimental textile there. Debbie Osborne, with her delicate watercolours. And Jasmine and Alan Elise, their collaborative head over here is very beautiful. And Ellie's dogs. That's right. Is that everybody with them?